Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are, of course, coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever it is, ladies and gentlemen, day or night, I hope it is just right. And with me is not, unfortunately, our man, Drew Gwillem, but Fred Not Monfrez. We still have the wonderful, the incomparable, maybe the second best beard, I would say, right now in this studio.
Oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. I've got the best beard in this fucking crew.
I don't know.
BS.
They
no.
like TJs. They like TJs.
I've got the best beard in this crew.
I don't
no offense, TJ. I love you to death. I do. I've been caught. I got told I have the best beard on the BetQL network.
Okay.
I don't even want to go there.
All right. Well, you know what, folks? It's up. Why don't we? You know what? One day we'll debate that. Who do you think has the better beard? We don't have a camera for TJ, unfortunately, but you've seen his beautiful face before, folks. You've made your claim to say that TJ has a wonderful beard, but now we have David Dykstra here with us, ladies and gentlemen. David is here. Yes, it's been a long time since we've had him co-hosting on the show. It's been.
I'm usually asleep by now.
That's true. That's very true. But he's here with us today, and David, it's great. I'm glad to have you here, man. It's always a pleasure to talk sports with you. Always, man, always, because we're doing the same thing we did yesterday, pretty much. With some new stuff.
Repeats are always good.
We got some new stuff that we're gonna throw in there.
New insight that I may have picked up on the way. You know, you just never know.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, are you ready to do this?
Let's go. Let's
do this, folks. So we are kicking this one off in the first half with, that's right, the Chicago Bears. Because yes, we haven't talked enough about this preseason game, but this is X-Bomb Sports, and we're doing the rehashing on this, folks. So yeah, if you don't know, the Bears did win their preseason game 19-14, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Star player I put as Sanborn, finally got his name right. I kept thinking it was Seaborn. It's Sanborn. He had a tremendous game. Obviously, I thought he was the player of the game. It was great. You're
wrong.
Fine, but I'll ask you, obviously, right off the bat, David. What did you think about the game that we saw? First preseason game, first action for these Bears. What were your thoughts?
I liked the way the defense looked. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's more of instead of being a reactive defense, they're swarming to the ball.
Yeah.
They're acting instead of reacting. And a lot of that goes to who I consider to be the player of that game, Jaquan Brisker.
No biases?
No bias.
No biases.
No bias
of course.
At all. No, none at all.
We don't have any biases here. He might have.
What would make you think I have
right,
a bias?
Exactly. Who would have thunk?
No idea what you're speaking of, sir.
Be it your hat, your backpack, your lanyard, the hoodie that you occasionally wear when it gets colder.
All my hoodies?
All your hoodies. All of your hoodies. All of your hoodies.
I have one that is not
and your face mask when it is required as well.
Yeah. You just.
You never know.
Just a little bit.
There's a Nittany lion everywhere.
But I would say that's what impressed me the most.
Yeah.
They looked fast. And that was without their two best, quote unquote, their two best players on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they, and I'm sure we'll get into this, if they decide to pay Roquan or Roquan goes, to heck with it, I'm going to play.
Right.
I'm really excited to see, as the will back in this system, how fast he's going to be.
Yeah.
That's going to be scary good.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I'd give the offense a C.
Okay.
We didn't get to see a lot. There were some highlights. I think they're not – I don't think they're great at wide receiver, but they're deep.
Yeah.
Deep good.
They have bodies.
They're deep good at wide receiver.
Yeah.
But if you have that generational quarterback that the Chicago Bears hope that they have, he can make them great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're getting a little bit more now into the breakdown of this team because I did the plus sides and the downsides on this. Okay. And this is obviously just what I saw. So if you want to attack me for it, folks, you already do it as it is, so what do I care? So, I mean, listen, one of the plus sides I saw is the same thing. The defense, it looks like they're back in action. Obviously, yes, you don't have Roquan Smith. And, I mean, look, I was listening, of course, to a guy that you say I favor, which, yes, I like Colin Cowherd. Give me Bite my head off if you want. But it wasn't even just him, though.
To each
Yes,
their
to
own.
each their own. But at the same time, it wasn't just him. I had listened to, obviously, others on Fox Sports Radio talking about this, CBS Sports Radio. I've heard, obviously, the local guys. I've heard outside of the local guys. A lot of the talk sounds like take it or leave it at this point now with Roquan Smith and maybe see what you can get, you know? And I'm kind of starting to lean on, like, listen, as much as you would hate to lose a guy of his caliber, because we know he's spectacular, if you think you can get something for him and help this team potentially on what seems to be the offensive side of the ball, which is obviously growing now in the NFL, it might be worth at least looking into at this point, especially if you're Ryan Poles and saying, I didn't draft him, right? I mean, is that not fair to say?
I honestly think that's what Roquan's not understanding.
Right.
Is you're in a new regime, my man.
Yes.
Everybody, and I mean everybody, is on a 1-year prove-it contract right now. Mm-hmm. It just so happens that your contract is up next year.
It's a literal 1-year prove-it.
Yeah. They're not willing to give anybody money. I'm sorry. I'll say it right now, and you and I have had this discussion. They go 3-10, and they're in that top 5. They're either going to take Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah.
Or they're going to go and get themselves another franchise quarterback and shop Justin Fields.
Yeah. They could shop them both, technically. I mean, they could start saying, let's clean house with what we've got and build with what we will draft and what we have now and what we drafted.
I think Roquan needs to come to the realization, and don't get me wrong, if you play like you've played the last 3 seasons, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Poles has already said that. You might not get exactly what you want, but you're going to get darn close to that. But he's not willing to do it because guess what? He hasn't seen you play.
Yeah.
He hasn't been here. He's been at Kansas City. So, I'm sorry. I'm one of the few people, I think, that's going, I get it. I have no problem with it. Go out there, be a freaking professional, and play. Earn your money, dude. Earn your money, Roquan. That's all I'm saying. Do I think he will? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the whole reason the other guy. The other his name's escaping me at the moment.
For the Bears
For the Bears. The sack.
Khalil Mack?
No, not Khalil.
Robert Quinn?
Quinn.
There you go. We would get there eventually.
I was going Robert.
You're thinking.
Bear? No, that's not it.
You got the Robert part right, but
see, this is what happens when you have lack of sleep, people.
True.
No, that's why they're not giving Robert Quinn and actually wanted to see, what they could get for him in trade talks. Yeah. They obviously didn't like what they could get for him, so he's still there. And Robert Quinn's come out. The only reason Robert Quinn isn't playing is because he's a veteran.
He's done this for so long.
And he don't want to practice.
Right. It's all it is.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He still looks sleek and trimmed down like he did last year, so I'm not worried about that.
Right.
So, hey, Robert, here's an idea. Be a leader in that clubhouse, in that locker room, and go up to Roquan and be like, listen, this is what's going on. I've had experience in this. Go out there, show up, be a leader, be the leader of this team.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm telling you right now, I would not be, and I'm not being biased when I say this, I would not be surprised to see Jaquan Brisker with a C on his jersey as a rookie.
No, we've talked about this beforehand, that he's making his voice known in training camp with the defense. He's calling out plays. He's helping. I mean, he's a rookie, and he's already starting to have that kind of voice amongst the defense, which most guys you wouldn't think, but you have to be vocal out there, and that's what Eberflus wants out of his defense, for guys to be able to talk and communicate, because back when they were doing the Lovie Smith thing, obviously back in 06 and 07 and stuff, what did you hear? You heard everybody talking with each other, even on the field. And that's what they want to see from these guys. So if Roquan Smith doesn't want to be here, or he doesn't feel like he's valued, I mean, if that's the case, then go off and find your deal with somebody else, and somebody will take your place Do you want to lose that guy? No, of course you don't want to lose that guy.
I honestly don't think it has anything to do with value.
No.
I think they value him very much, but new regime.
Right.
Again, new regime.
I think it's a new people that he thinks probably I can try and push them into making a move that.
And I actually like the fact that they're like, nope.
Yeah. Why would Ryan Poles is like, look, dude, I've been in your position. I've been a player, not of his caliber, of course, but he's seen at this point what
the ins and outs of things.
He knows how this works. He's part of the players union. He gets how this whole spiel works. So I would just say for the defense, even without Roquan Smith, they've done a fantastic job. The other plus side I would also say is the run game obviously showed out. I mean, I jumped the gun a little bit on the guy. I gave him a bad grade when we graded out the rookies. But Ebner looks like he's going to be a guy that can be really special.
Who said he looked good?
I'm saying this as a running back. I did say he was going to be good as a kick and punt returner. So I want a little bit of credit on that.
Who said he looked good?
Yes, I get it.
Who
okay.
touted this draft as being not the greatest, like, star-powered draft?
Right.
But there's talent. Unpolished talent.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But there's talent.
One of them needs to not be broken in order to be polished. So, but we're not talking about him. I'm talking about the running game here because listen, Ebner looked good. I thought Evans looked really good as well. They have a couple of guys that they brought in as kind of like trials. I don't know if they've made the cut or not for the 85, but everybody who seemed to play behind that offensive line when they were handing the football off looked like they were playing strong. And you can only imagine if Montgomery and Herbert really get more carries behind this line, what could potentially happen? Because we've seen it when it was just kind of bare bones. And now when they're starting to upgrade and get guys that really are making a difference,
creating holes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving the line of scrimmage back or forwards instead of backwards.
Right, exactly. But, I mean, for you, I mean, seeing the running game, I mean, do you think – we've heard now that this probably is going to be a big part of the offense, running the football. Do you expect to see this team kind of be more on that run-first kind of tout with Eberflus?
I just hope Eberflus doesn't say we're going to get off the bus running.
Okay.
As long as you don't say that, Eberflus, we're good.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said from the beginning, Bears fans enjoy this last year of David Montgomery. He will be gone after this year. And it's no bag on David Montgomery.
Yeah.
But you have a quicker twitch, hits the hole faster, and can get upfield faster, Khalil Herbert.
Right.
Who's, maybe 10 pounds lighter?
I think he's about 215, 210, something like that. And his game just fits what you're asking a running back to do now, in catching and running the football kind of on sweeps and outside runs and all that kind of stuff. Nobody's really asking for the ground and pound running back anymore. Again, like you said, nothing against Montgomery.
I think he's a solid back, and he can be in the right system.
But how often do those guys break?
After that first contract?
Right. That's the problem.
Pretty much mid-second contract, things start breaking down.
Yeah.
That being said, you said one of your stars was Ebner. I agree. And he seems to have an even faster twitch than Khalil.
Yeah.
And is able to get up. He's a one-cut back who's going to hit the hole, take his one cut, and go. Yeah. And you want that. You always want your running backs running downfield instead of boop, 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 boop.
Right, yeah.
Dancing in the backfield trying to make a 50-yard run when there's only 3 yards to be gained.
Yes.
Get the 3 yards, man. Let's go. So that's very encouraging to me, and it shows us also why Tariq Cohen was non-essential.
Yeah.
And, nothing against Tariq Cohen. Unfortunately injured. I hope he heals up properly.
Right.
Gets another shot at the league, but, time to move on.
Right.
And that's really what this new regime is all about. It's time to move forward instead of being status quo. Hey, we're a 500 team. We're just under. Woo!
Yeah.
That means we get the 11th to 18th pick in the draft. Woo! Where you're getting solid talent,
right,
but not somebody who's going to change your franchise for the better.
Right. Well, it's the NFL is obviously with each draft, obviously in each sport, it's always a different monster, right? The NBA, usually the top 5 guys make an immediate impact. Sometimes you find a guy in the middle. The NFL, it usually feels like the top 10 guys can make an impact, and somewhere you'll find a couple of guys that hit in the middle. And then obviously through the rest of the draft is you find a bunch of unknown stars that
Diamonds
shine bright.
in the rough, yeah.
Especially if you're Bill Belichick, you just take a guy that should have been a third rounder in the first round because you just know he's going to be a 16-time All-Pro.
And then he takes a quarterback that's going to end up being his starting quarterback for years.
You stop.
I'm telling you. You think I'm lying. I'm telling you. Mac Jones gets hurt. He never sees the field again.
Could happen. It could. Maybe it happens. Who knows? The story has not been written yet, folks, but we'll see. But listen, on the other side of this, obviously, there were some downsides I saw. And I'm not trying to be too critical on this. This is just kind of from what I saw. And one of them was that the passing attack kind of looked like it was a little bit off balance. Not to say Justin Fields himself looked bad. He looks like he has a good grip of what this offense is going to be. And he certainly seems to have the leadership quality down pat where he's like, shut up, I'm in command, you listen to me. And I like that. The problem is that I think that everybody else plus, and I'm not saying Justin Fields per se, but him plus the rest of the offense, it's still kind of like, we're still trying to work out the kinks. We're starting to figure out how to fine tune this thing. The engine's in place, but now you have to fine tune it so you get the best RPMs from it.
Well, you also have to understand N'Keal Harry was going to be a big part of this offense.
He was showing out.
He was looking really good in training camp.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that high ankle sprain, like, it is amazing to me. Just to touch on it, Zach Wilson, torn meniscus and a bone bruise, 2 to 4 weeks. N'Keal Harry, high ankle sprain, decides to get the surgery, which I think was a smart move because you can come back quicker if you go and get the surgery.
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks now instead of the
that's the projection as of this point.
Projected 6 to 8 if he didn't get the surgery.
It's 4 to 6 weeks with the 4th week being an evaluation period to see if he's ready to go. If not by that point, give him an extra 2 weeks, and if he's not ready by then they stretch it out to 8.
And don't get me wrong, next man up is the mentality,
right,
and everything, but you had guys that probably weren't seeing the reps that N'Keal Harry was.
Yes.
So you had Mooney out there who looked like as sharp as ever, and he's damned if I do, damned if I don't. I'm going to prove that I'm a number 1 wide receiver for this franchise kind of guy.
Right.
But he's also smart enough to know, and I've heard it in multiple interviews from him, that his season goes as Justin Fields' season goes. So he's really, really excited because he's even said Justin looks like he's getting it. Yeah. Everything's, and that's typically what happens with second-year quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, Joe Burrow sat out a majority of his rookie year.
Well, he got hurt
with that injury.
Yeah, so.
But even then, coming back this past year, you saw what he did, and it looked like it completely slowed down for him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he has an absolute stud of a wide receiver in Jamar Chase.
Right.
But there's nothing to say that Mooney can't be. I would say on any other team he'd be a 2 or a 3. Right. But for him to step up and want to be the 1 on this team, go for it, man. And once again, if Justin is who they hope he is, he'll make Mooney a number 1 in this league. Just like, I mean, look at all the wide receivers Aaron Rodgers has turned into number 1s. Right. The only one that I think is going to have any kind of career after they leave Rodgers, and I don't think it's going to be a career near what he was doing with Aaron, is Devontae Adams, because he is who he is. Right. He's worked his ass off to be the greatest wide receiver of this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's, I think, the hope, that you can take very talented wide receivers, maybe not the cream of the crop, but very talented nonetheless, and have Justin make them better because he's that great of a quarterback.
Yeah, I definitely think that Justin Fields can turn guys around. It's just very difficult, obviously, when you're talking about somebody so young, kind of making guys even better. I don't know if I see that happening, because listen, with Joe Burrow, yes, he had Jamar Chase come in, but that was a guy he had played with back in college. They had the chemistry. And we have to remember, too, they drafted T. Higgins, who had a year to kind of grow as well with Joe Burrow, so they had some sort of connection. And they still have Tyler Boyd, who himself is a veteran wide receiver who, yes, was the number 2 guy and then got moved to the slot, but he was still a dependable third down wide receiver that could come over the middle, can play outside wide if you need him to, and be that guy. So he had a safety net that I think helped him a lot, especially in year 2. The other thing is, and this is not, and listen, this is Eberflus's first year, so I'm not going to slam him or anything, but I've always been one who, when it comes to a quarterback that you're saying is your franchise player, right? And you're saying Justin Fields is our guy, I always feel like you want to bring in somebody that's going to help him. Now, they had it Nagy. There's not much you could do there. He is what he is at that point. You fired him. You let him go. I was very certain that they should probably go after Dable because, and it's not even just what Josh Allen, what he did with Josh Allen. It's what you get with an offensive-minded coach saying the way the NFL is going now is offense. Quarterbacks are now more important than ever. We have to be able to throw the ball down the field or at least have some semblance of a passing attack. Brian Dable has shown he has that ability to be that offensive coach that could step in and work with your quarterback one-on-one. He's not going to just be like, my way or the highway. Like, hey, let's do what works for you. You clearly like to roll out. It's your best bet, so let's do that. That's what I was hoping for. Eberflus, maybe Getsy's the guy. I don't know, but I get it's a distinctive kind of, it's like a line kind of drawn where you know Eberflus is going to care more about defense than maybe he is offense. But I will say this also. He does seem like he's the guy that's kind of trying to manage everything.
He's dipping his toes.
Yeah, but having everybody also control what they have to control. So Getsy gets the offense. He and Allen Williams work on the defense, but he's also concentrating on the offense. So I like that. That means you're growing as a coach, and that means you could get better. That's what Bill Belichick did, and look at what he is.
For me, it's one of those instances I've heard nothing but absolute raving reviews for Eberflus. When he got hired, everybody was like, he's a rock star. Mm-hmm. He's going to be an elite head coach.
Yeah.
So I think he's one of those guys that's not just going to put in the time to make sure that his defense is what it is. Mm-hmm. But he's also going to make sure that that offense is clicking the way he wants it to click. Because you best believe that there's a reason he hired Getsy instead of going out and getting somebody else, which I didn't like the choice when it first happened because, once again, Getsy was a quarterback's coach. You got to have the number 2 ready to go just in case, and number two all over himself. So that was my big concern, but it looks like Getsy and Fields have a pretty solid connection.
Yeah.
And Justin is learning this offense as quick as he can and absorbing it as quick as he can. And I would say these first 3 weeks of the NFL season is going to show you exactly kind of what Justin Fields is made of. Because you've got 49ers, Packers, and then I forget who, but
yeah,
they could come out of that 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody's going, okay, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it looks stagnant at times. The one good thing is you found out that you had a solid backup.
Right, yeah.
You have a solid backup in Trevor Siemian.
Which I don't get why people, I get why people jump all over him because, it's Trevor Siemian. The dude's a solid, decent backup quarterback. You're not asking him to come in and start like they did in Denver when they're like, we're desperate, we need somebody.
Or New Orleans.
Yeah, or New Orleans. But keep in mind, too, he did work with Kubiak, who's a really good quarterbacks coach. And he did work with Sean Payton, who is maybe the best quarterback coach and one of the best head coaches we've seen in the last 10 years, potentially. Like, he's worked with some of the best, so you would hope he's coming in and he's like, you know what you're doing, right? Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Trevor Siemian, to me, is going to be that guy that after he retires is going to be one hell of a coach somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I kind of like the fact that they have him sitting behind Justin because if Justin's confused about something or doesn't quite understand, I'm sure Trevor does. And Trevor's like, this is what they're trying to tell you. This is what you need to be looking for right here, right here, right here.
Yeah.
So that to me, because I don't think Nick Foles or Andy Dalton would have been able to explain. And I think that was part of the problem. They couldn't explain Nagy's system
No, they were just as confused, I think, as everybody else.
And lost.
Yeah.
So having somebody understand the system and be able to teach you if you make mistakes.
Right.
And Justin's willing to listen.
Yeah.
He obviously is. So that to me is encouraging. So I'll leave that there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trevor Siemian, by the way, folks, if you don't know, he is a son of the city. He did play at Northwestern. He was a part of that team that played the 2-quarterback system.
Dual threat.
Yeah, so Pat Fitzgerald's the one that says, listen, I don't know if he's going to be an all-star quarterback, but he's got one hell of a mind. So, like you said, he's got a coaching future, I think. If not at Northwestern, he's the pros. Somebody's going to call him up for the pros, I think. So, just keep that on lock, Bears. I'm just saying, keep in mind there. But real quick, the last thing on the downside was obviously within the offense itself, we saw the offensive line. I specifically myself think that the tackle spots look like they're kind of not particularly locked up, but I'm willing to say that because it looks like Braxton Jones, man amongst boys, he's pushing guys around. He is doing work.
They found themselves a gem in the 5th.
Southern Utah, folks. I was unsure where he went, but it was Southern Utah.
He's wrestling cattle up in Utah.
He's
big sky country.
He's a strong man, that's for sure. And Riley Reif, I think, has done a great job at right tackle. It doesn't mean that Larry Borum's out, but I think that he's kind of the vet tackle they want in there to protect Justin Fields at the same time.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, this offensive line is designed to be a mix and match, see guys at different positions kind of level, because right now the guard spots are kind of wide open, it sounds like, because obviously, and look, it's one play, but Schofield got blown up and he let a sack through. Cody Whitehair did not play sufficiently well.
Well, and we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
What's wrong with having the two new guys at guard?
Right, yeah. Borum and Jenkins.
Borum and Jenkins at guards.
Right.
And then you have your outer protected because they obviously like Braxton.
Right. Yeah.
They love Braxton. They saw something in him that nobody else did.
You don't get first team reps and first day of training camp and so on. And
they saw something in OTAs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It had to have happened in OTA.
Absolutely.
He must have like just straight up stopped somebody dead cold.
Yeah, there's no way. But I think the only thing that you would have to question with them, I don't remember if we mentioned this or not. They are tackles first and foremost. So how much is converting to guard going to change them? Now we know Borum's played guard before. We've seen that. And for Jenkins been mostly a tackle. That's the thing.
For me, Borum may fit the guard position a little bit better than the tackle. And this is the only reason, and I hate doing it. He's got short arms.
Yeah.
He does have short arms. And if you're a guard, you're not pushing him out as far. You're more inward.
Right. You're taking on more of that double team block with the center, things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So that, to me, makes a little more sense. Tevin, right now, I think they shopped him. They didn't get the offers that they wanted for him. Because, listen, Jets, Jets would have been a perfect place to ship Tevin out.
Oh, but right now they would be like, we need somebody.
But obviously didn't hear anything.
Well, actually,
or didn't hear what they wanted.
Well, now they've actually, I don't know if you heard, they signed Dwayne Brown. The old man Dwayne Brown's getting 2 years on his deal. So,
well, I was waiting for the old
Jason Peters.
Hey,
he's kind of the new.
We caught Jason Peters fishing again, and decided to see if he wanted to play one more year.
I'll give credit to Dwayne Brown. Even at 36, I think he's better than Jason Peters. But yeah.
But that being said, I understand they went out and got Dwayne Brown, but you still there still needs to be someone.
Absolutely.
And it made sense, and they probably could have gotten Jenkins a little cheaper because they've got a butt ton of picks over the next 2 years.
Yeah, they do.
So it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But it is what it is. I'm actually excited to see Jenkins maybe get some first team reps this next game.
I would think so.
At guard, and him and Borum at guard, and the other two, Reif and Braxton, at the tackles, and see where it goes.
Yeah. They're gonna have to try. They're gonna have to try and mash this out until somebody steps up. Because right now, I'm one who's watched the Bears for a while. Cody Whitehair it's too much whiffing on blocks when he's supposed to pass block. He's trying to get into the guy instead of sitting back on his heels. And when he has sat back on his heels, he's getting blown up.
Over,
yeah, it's too easy with him, unfortunately, or he's getting smashed down into the ground because he overextends himself. So I think you need to find somebody that is going to be able to work alongside Lucas Patrick as the center to get double teams, to open the holes for the running backs when you do run it up the middle with Montgomery, because that's where Montgomery's really found his bread and butter, in between the tackles. He's not really an outside runner. Outside runner, you can pull those guys all you want, but you need somebody that can open the floodgates for.
Could you imagine Tevin Jenkins is a pulling guard?
If he can
at you downfield,
that's 6'6", 320. That'd be great. And if he can do that, then you have stake to claim to potentially being one of those guards. I think if you can pull in this offense, I think he can do it. But that means you have to get off that snap, you have to pull down that line, and you have to go get your man, and then try and get to the next level. Because the best guards, I mean, Brandon Sheriff is maybe one of the best I've seen, where he pulls, he hits the defensive end, he hits the linebacker, and then he's like, what safety's in my front?
I'm just saying, if I'm a safety, the last thing I want to see is Tevin Jenkins bowling down the field.
Learn a thing or two from film, man. Watch some of these current NFL guards. I'm telling you, you want to watch one that does it really well? There's no one better right now in the league than the man monster himself, Quentin Nelson. I have seen corners and safety just be like, yeah, no, not happening. I'm not doing it. And he's like, oh, no, I'm coming for you. And they're like, well, this is where I die. This is where I die. This is where I die, because he's insane.
They're imprinted on the turf. You peel them up.
I've seen Jacksonville Jaguar cornerbacks do that. Just be like, yeah, no, you're on your own. Screw it. He gets a touchdown, whatever. So,
literally all I have in my head, like even with Tevin Jenkins, like if he gets going, all I see in my head is the Roger Rabbit steam.
Yes, absolutely.
Concrete steamroller.
Imprinted like that kid in Little Giants.
Guys going,
yeah. All right, well, we got a game coming up tomorrow. It's the Bears against the Seahawks. Game preseason game 2 for the Bears. What in this game for you, David, are you potentially looking out of the Bears? What are you going to be looking for more than anything out of the offense and the defense?
I'm going to sleep.
Is that all you're going to be able to stomach, or are you be able to
first quarter
stay
and
up
going
for?
To bed. I think I'm hoping they give Justin the first quarter.
Yeah.
And just kind of let him do his thing and see how it goes. And I don't know if you'll see Montgomery still.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see a nice healthy dose of Ebner and Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
And then I want to see some of these younger, I don't know if Velas will be ready to go tomorrow. I know it's a short week.
From what I've heard, he's still day to day on his injury, so I don't know.
So that's fine.
To me,
I would much rather them rest him longer than he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's preseason,
right?
And then have him be at 100%, then go out there during a preseason game and twinge it even more.
Right. Yeah.
So that's fine. So all these other guys need to step up. I want to see Pringle. I want to see St. Brown.
Yeah, Equanimous St. Brown.
You know, all these guys that, you know, aren't they're all mid-tier wide receivers. Show us what you got.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I think you have to, in this game, to some degree in that first quarter, put out what you believe, because you only got 3 preseason games and you got 1 down, and now you're going into your second one very quickly. So I think you have to have some semblance of what you believe is going to be the first team offense when you hit the field in week 1 against the 49ers, of what you're going to be looking at as far as an offensive line, your receivers with Justin Fields, and like Montgomery in the backfield, I would assume, or Herbert. I mean, we kind of know who the running backs are. But in terms of the receivers and the offensive line, those guys need to kind of be like, these are who we feel most comfortable with now going forward week 1. Not necessarily you have to lock them in, but these should be the guys that you're like, we feel that they have the best chance to be our guys. Look, I've been very bashful on Vilas, of course. I'm willing to give the guy a shot. My biggest problem is that now that he's hurt, you're losing reps. You're losing a chance to get game time action with your quarterback, and that I think is always essential. Not to get hurt, but to get sort of an idea of I'm against a corner that's not my teammate that's challenging me. I have to get away from him, break apart, get myself wide open, and catch my quarterback's ball to get into the end zone for a touchdown. It sounds simple, but obviously we know it's not. And I want to see him be able to do that. So I'm hoping game 3, if he is healthy, or this game, if he is healthy, then he just shows out whatever he can. Because I know he's made big plays, and then he's like having some rough patches, and then he got hurt. So I want to see that. Plus, I want to see him in the kick and the punt return game.
Yeah,
I want to see this guy. We know he's a flyer. I don't know if he's Devin Hester 2.0. I don't know if he's Cordell Patterson 2.0.
That's too much.
If you're saying that, you're putting a lot of pressure on the guy.
That's too much.
If he can be Vilas Jones Jr., who returns punts and kicks.
Hester and Patterson on him, that's
a lot. But
that's too much.
If he can be that next kick returner in a Bears uniform where you go, hey, if he takes it back, we might get a touchdown out of this. That's great. Because Ebner already shows, like, as a kick and a punt returner, we've got one. Pettis has kind of shown he has the ability to do it as well. We haven't seen him in game yet, but in practice, they've said he's done well. They've got a long list of guys
Pettis
that can throw
should be good. The all-time collegiate record holder, for God's sake.
Exactly. So I want to see, like you said, kind of those receivers get out there, work with Justin Fields. We saw Sharp. He stepped up. Want to see Brown do a lot more. Obviously, yes, Vilas as well. The offensive line, let's see what Jenkins and Borum look at tackle. Let's see what they look at for guard. Let's see what this starting offensive line that you feel is best to go out there does with Justin Fields. And give Justin more of a chance to kind of throw the ball. You gave him 7 passes. Give him, I think, maybe, a bigger chance to throw a little bit more in the first quarter. Give him that whole first quarter or something like that until he gets in the end zone, and then pull him. Because after he scores a touchdown, you should pull him, okay? Take a note out of the Chiefs book. The Chiefs said, all right, Mahomes scored a touchdown. He's out. We know what he can do. He's out. So I'm just saying, just keep it simple as much as possible so that everybody kind of gets their confidence up and get another win. Because I think you can beat Seattle.
Yeah.
It's Geno Smith. I mean, come on. So,
Drew Lock.
Well, he's out. Remember, he's sick with COVID now. So yeah.
Who's
so
their third string?
I don't know. And you know what? Good luck to that man. So. But
I can guarantee you're not getting Garoppolo.
Yeah, that ain't happening, folks. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting game. It starts tomorrow night. It's the only game on a Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. And that's going to do it for the Bears stuff. Obviously, let us know. What do you think is going to happen for the Bears against Seattle? Comment, let us know on the YouTube, on the Facebook side. We want to hear from you guys. And when we do come back, folks, we got to talk about baseball because the White Sox have been doing some magic. The Cubs have kind of magic. I don't know if it's really magic. It's like the non-fun magic, but there's all this magic and mystifyingness in the air, and we'll be talking about that. Yes, we'll be talking about that next here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. And welcome everybody back to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm still Andrew Valentin. I'm still here with my man David Dykstra, and we just got done talking about the Bears preseason, ladies and gents. And now we move into one of the next fun subjects. I don't know.
Listen,
depends on
two of the most entertaining games I've watched of the White Sox in recent memory have been the last two games.
Yeah.
These last 2 games against Houston.
Yeah.
Absolute entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, let's get into it, folks. So, the White Sox, they seem to be potentially back in black because they've been wearing their black uniforms. And if you don't know, they have their homestead here against the Houston Astros. In the last 2 games, it's been back-to-back wins, all thanks to Moncada himself, a man who I was very deeply involved in saying, trade him away.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Moncada.
Yeah, now he's coming alive. Thanks a lot, Moncada. But he's done it. He's really been on a hot streak. A lot of the White Sox have now starting to been feeling themselves, seem to be back in kind of a good mode. But obviously, it's still a long ways to go. They're obviously above 500 now. They're only 1 game back now for the division lead, tied with Minnesota or Cleveland. Or Cleveland or Minnesota? Do you know which one it was, TJ?
Cleveland.
Was it Cleveland? It is Cleveland, right?
It's Cleveland.
Okay, Cleveland. Yes. All right. Just wanted to make sure before I went off and said something that was.
Sucks. Cleveland sucks. Cleveland sucks.
That is.
Oh wait, no, that's supposed to be Rocks.
Yes, Cleveland
I
rocks.
apologize.
Yes.
I got the words wrong.
You got to watch more of the Drew Carey show, man.
I guess.
It's such a hot show. Don't you know it? It's still.
I mean, listen. Every time I hear the word Cleveland, right along with it, I hear Joakim Noah. So
yeah, okay.
It just happens.
Absolutely.
I apologize.
But the White Sox, obviously 7-3 in their last 10. They've been looking very good. They obviously still have a long ways to go, of course. But for you, David, I mean, you've always kind of expressed your thoughts with these last 2 back-to-back games against Houston. But what are your thoughts on the White Sox being able to kind of go on a 5-game win streak right now as we're kind of coming down to the wire for the season? We still have a lot to do, obviously, for the baseball season. But what are your thoughts so far?
Tony La Russa. Thanks for poo-pooing all over my man Johnny Cueto, because now it's become a rallying point for this team to go, screw you, Tony. Johnny Cueto's the man.
Yeah.
Johnny Cueto is now the locker room leader of the White Sox. Wasn't even on the team at the beginning of the year.
Nope.
And what did I say when they picked him up? Ooh, that is a good pickup.
Yes, sir.
I would put him number 3 in the rotation right now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
He's pitching that well.
He is.
His record doesn't show it because their bats went silent for a while.
Yes.
But he could very easily be a 2-loss, 3-loss guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his stuff is magic right now. He's got his confidence back, which is what I thought the issue was to begin with anyway, with Cueto.
Yeah.
It's never been his pitching.
Right.
It's always been mental for Cueto.
Yeah.
So thank you, Tony, for making him the center of all your aggression and kind of poo-pooing all over him, and the locker room going, no. Cueto's brought the fun back into the locker room from what I've heard. Like, he's making baseball fun for these guys again.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, Johnny Cueto. You are my favorite Sox and have been since you become a White Sox. Before all this stuff. And that's the thing. And for me, you and I talked about it yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it might have been on the show, on the radio show. I can't remember. It's all mind melded together.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Vaughn needs to be out there more.
That's the one thing that, like, at this point, nothing against Abreu. It's just I feel like Vaughn needs to find his place, and it's not even just with first base, because you said putting him and not to steal from you, but you said putting him in the outfield. He's obviously done a decent job at outfield, but I feel like
Eloy was supposed to be the replacement for Abreu,
right?
Eloy, but not Vaughn. I
feel, and maybe that's the case. Put Eloy at first base. I don't know what his feel is for first base. I don't know what that is. I don't know. He's big enough. I mean,
he's
but
what, 7'7"?
Yeah,
and like 630 pounds.
Yeah,
you can't throw by that.
My fear is, though, that because he seems to like to go into the wall so much, that he would just keep flying over the edge where the fans are at to try and grab
diving into the dugouts. I got it.
Ball's 100 feet over his head going foul, but he's like, I got it, boss. I got it, boss. I got it. You big baby. Come on, man. Pull it back. But I think Vaughn, you see what he's doing. Right now, he's hitting 279, 345, 470. That's his slash line right now. The guy has, at this point, 13 home runs, which is second on the team, if I'm not mistaken, behind Jose Abreu. Okay, this is a guy that is like I think he's like a part-time starter at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he does the DH stuff a lot, but he's not even a full-time starter, and he should be. He should be.
He looks very comfortable. And this is what I will compare him to a Cub, if you wouldn't mind. A former Cub, excuse me. I think Vaughn could be the South Side's version of, oh my God.
Did you just forget the name?
Just forgot. Schwarber.
There you go.
Jeez,
yes.
man.
There you go.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
He plays for my team now. But I think that could be the Southside's version of Schwarbs.
Yeah, very, very could.
And his home runs are down this year, but that could change next year. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's something happened with Schwarber's numbers were horrible at the beginning of this season too.
Yeah.
And he went and talked to the hitting coach, and the hitting coach found whatever minute hole there was in his swing. And all of a sudden, bombs away.
Yeah.
And
right.
that's all it could be. Just a little bit of an adjustment, and then you're off to the races again.
Yeah.
Hitting bombs. So, once again, it comes down to the White Sox winning in spite of instead of because of Tony La Russa. And you sit there, and the reason I bring him up again is you sit there and go, I don't understand why Abreu is on the field so much. He's a veteran. What does Tony La Russa love? He loves himself a veteran. He would have, listen, if Tony hadn't left St. Louis, I don't think Albert Pujols ever leaves St. Louis, and he'd still be playing first base.
No, I think you're right. And by the way, I mean, shout out to Albert Pujols. He's very close to the 700. He's been hitting home runs again, so who knows if can he do it before he retires?
That HGH is really working well for him.
Yeah.
Help him with his speed.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He's powers back. But no, I agree with you. I think this White Sox team...
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. But this White Sox team, look, they've done everything they can for mixing and matching guys. Obviously, I still... personally, when it comes to guys like Kopech, I still don't know where I stand with him anymore at this point.
He needs to find some consistency.
Yes.
And I'm willing to give him the leash because, honestly, it took Cease 3 seasons to find his groove.
Right, yes. Well, and I think Cease...
And when Kopech's on, he's just as good as Cease.
Right. And I think...
But it's finding that consistency to be that good every single outing.
Right.
Or at least close to that good every... Because Cease had an off night last night.
Yeah.
Gave up 3 runs.
He was his first 14 straight games or whatever it was with 1 run given up or less or something like that. And it was the first game he gave up with 2 runs. Never done in history in baseball.
I mean, that being said, I'm willing to give him the leash. His stuff is electric.
Right.
His stuff is absolutely electric. Hey, Chicago, just FYI, maybe bring back Chris Sale next year. Just going to throw that out there. You could probably get him for real cheap.
No punching.
And just tell him there's a no punching clause.
No punching.
Because I don't think he fell off that bike, ladies and gentlemen. But
very possible.
No, when we talk about this stuff, Andrew, it truly is. That's, to me, Cease is your ace, but do you really have a legit number 2? Giolito's looked decent.
The problem is that Giolito was supposed to be the ace, and Cease is supposed to be the number 2, really. And then
Cease was supposed to be the
number 3, and then Lynn was supposed to be the number 2.
I don't know what the hell has happened to Lynn.
I think his problem is that he spent too much time away from baseball trying to rehab. He's still trying to get into a mode, and I think at his age, it's taking him a while to get back to that place.
If he hits that mode in the next week, they're going to be solid.
Absolutely.
Solid. Because here's the thing, and this is kind of what I wanted to touch on with you.
Yeah.
They can, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm about to say this. They could sweep the Astros if they win tonight.
Absolutely. I believe that.
Going into this series was like,
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
No, yeah. I trust me. Seeing them win last night's game, I go, wow. So if they sweep the Astros, does that? I still don't want to let you into my house, Hope. I really don't. But hey, listen, you're knocking at the door. You're sounding pretty consistent, and I'm starting to listen to the words you're saying. Let's do a coffee date, and maybe we'll talk. All right, baby. But until then, I don't want to let Hope into my house. But this is a big plus.
The thing is, I'm like, in my head, I'm going, you know what? I could totally hear Tony talking to the starting pitcher tonight going, give up 2 or 3. We'll get into their bullpen and we'll come back and we'll win. That's how we're doing it from here on out.
And see that, and that's the one thing that kind of scares me is that if you get into that, because I saw some people talking about, like, it seems like when it gets to the bullpen, of course they can do some damage, but that's kind of a problem because if a starter starts going long into it and he's eating you up, that can kill you because all of a sudden you have to wait till the 7th or 8th inning, maybe when the bullpen starts in. And that's when you got to start hoping that you can hit runs. By that point, you might be losing 6-0. And if you're doing, especially in the playoffs, where we know that you're going to take your best 4 guys pretty much going in as starters and your best bullpen guys. And if you can't match up with them, we saw what happened with them against the Astros last year.
Yeah.
They struggled against some of the starters, and then the bullpen they were able to do some damage on.
I honestly don't think, like, if they play the Astros again this year,
yeah,
I honestly think that they have a little bit of a shot. I don't think they'd win it, but I think it'd be a more competitive series this time around.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Anybody who watched Justin Verlander last night, I don't know where he found the fountain of youth.
Age like fine wine, man. Him and Scherzer, man. Him and Scherzer.
Just ridiculously sharp.
It's crazy how these two guys, both of those guys are in their late 30s now, or if not touching 40 at this point, and they can still go. Meanwhile, in Dodger land, they pretty much are just like, yeah, we're just going to put like Kershaw on a shelf, and come playoff time, we'll just take him off, dust him off, and he'll be like, go for it, buddy.
Let's see what you can do, sir.
Yeah. So,
but
crazy.
For me, that would be the exact opposite. I wouldn't want Kershaw coming anywhere near the postseason because he's been god-awful.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, outside of last year where they won it.
Who's Verlander's? Who's Verlander's wife again? Kate
Upton.
Kate Upton?
Yes.
Yeah, that probably had something to do with it too.
Lucky man.
I'm just saying.
Wish I had a fastball over 100.
She probably looks at him. Does the whole Billy Madison thing. If you get a win, this will come off. That is correct.
All right, well, obviously, White Sox, they still have a stretch to go. They've got 2 more games against the Astros, and then they've got 3 more games against Cleveland on the road. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, this could be the start of something beautiful for them. It very much could. If you can sweep the Astros and
tend to forget.
Yeah.
The World Series team was nowhere near being talked about as a World Series championship quality team.
No.
Until that last month of the season, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh,
yep.
Okay. You get hot at the right time. You saw it last year.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, you get hot at the right time in postseason.
The Atlanta Braves turned it on, folks, and now they're paying everybody.
It was the same way with the White Sox when they won the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they got hot.
Yeah. And
they had people hitting dingers in World Series that shouldn't be hitting dingers in World Series.
I mean, come on. You didn't see all those mega stars? Contreras is a great pitcher. Come on now.
I'm just saying, like,
Jermaine Dye, I mean, that's not a World Series hero for you. I would have guessed it. Scott Pasednik, who would have thought?
Scott Pasednik.
I love you, Scott.
When you watch like the behind the scenes World Series videos from the White Sox,
yeah,
and you hear from the bench as Scotty Pods is hitting the home run, Scotty?
Yeah.
Really? All right, let's go. The whole bench, not just one guy. The whole Scotty? Really? But
the man that steals?
That's what I'm saying is like Moncada could be that guy.
It could.
You know, he's getting hot.
Right.
Grandal could be that guy.
By the way, Jimenez is starting to hit too. He's been piling on the hits. I think he leads in hits for this month or something like that.
If Eloy, well, and they were saying the other day, it's funny to see him grow as a hitter.
Right.
It's not just about power now. He's starting to take things to the opposite field for hits.
He's actually like turning on the ball now when he swings and actually he's launching it.
I want to say somebody compared him to Miggy. And I was like, ooh.
It's not a bad comparison.
Ooh, if you could turn into Miggy.
If you can be that kind of a guy,
White Sox.
That's a lights out hitter that even to this point still hitting over 280.
Here's my best. Here's the funniest thing. They were talking about it on the Score the other day. Who's with Detroit right now and with Miggy that should be just sewed to that man's hip, trying to get all the information from him he possibly can to become a better hitter and be able to hit anything that's thrown at him.
You would think, right? You would think that. By the way, it's Javier Baez, if you don't know the answer to that trivia question. Which, by the way, if you look on the ESPN.com, he is, in fact, the front news thing called the Baez disaster, if I'm not mistaken. And that's kind of what it's been for them. So...
Well, we joked about it last year when he got traded to the Mets.
Yeah.
And he hits, 4 home runs in like his first 3 games for him?
Yeah.
And then gets the golden sombrero, and we're all like, hey, New York, welcome to the life with Javi Baez.
Yes, exactly. So he wanted to go play with his best friend. I get it. Lindor's amazing, but... sometimes that's not always the best move. And you've got a mentor now in Detroit. And unlike what I think Jimenez and Robert and all these guys have done, which is kind of like Abreu's our guy. He's our Poppy. We go to Poppy. We talk to Poppy. Poppy tells us what's up.
Which is a horrible thing.
No, it's not.
Abreu is an absolute
He's a
beast.
gentleman through and through, and he's a great ball player even to this point. People forget he came in at 26, played at 27, and is only about 33, 34 right now, and still has a lot of baseball in him. So... this team has a great chance to get hot.
I don't know what they do in Cuba, man, but damn.
I tell you, it's the spices, man.
It must be.
It's that whole Caribbean, man, the spices. I'm telling you, it's what keeps my almost 100 grandmother and grandfather back there. They should like, no, we keep dancing. That's what it is. It's the dance.
It's the salsa.
My great uncle claims it's tequila. I don't know if that is it, but he claims it's tequila.
It's the word.
Yeah, he said it's oil for my engine. It's oil. Okay, cool. All right, well let's do quick on the Cubs and then we'll get out of here. We had some stuff for Katie, but I want to save that because I saw some stuff pop up on Katie.
I think there's some bubbling going on.
Yes, there's more on that.
Let me say this.
Go for it.
I once again have been encouraged by this season with the Cubs. I'm one of the few people that came out and was like, good for the Cubs for giving David Ross an extension.
Yeah.
He has done more with this team than I think any other manager could.
I agree with that totally. Absolutely.
That being said, and I'm one of the few people that'll go out on a limb and say this, you are a superstar and a pitching staff away from being in the hunt.
Yeah, I would say so.
You've got legit players on your team. Wisdom. Nico.
Yes. Nico Horner, Patrick Wisdom.
They need to re-sign Ian.
Yes, Ian Happ.
Not to a huge contract.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe upper mid-tier contract.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because he's so versatile.
Absolutely.
You have
to do something with Contreras.
Contreras is gone.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
And I'm okay with that.
I would say pitch something to him, see if he bites. If he doesn't bite, move forward.
Make the effort.
Right.
We tried.
That's a great way to put it. Make the effort.
We tried.
Or as I call it, a White Sox. Make the attempt.
But you're so deep.
Yes.
You're so deep at the catcher position in this organization. That being said, you're pitching. Listen, Stroman should be a 3.
Yeah. At this point, he's struggling too much. Yeah,
he's a head case.
Yeah,
put him at 3. That's where his money belongs. And go out and get yourselves a pitching staff.
Yeah,
and a legitimate star.
I think you have your number 4 and maybe number 5 guy in Steele and Thompson.
Who
if you
could
just develop
into something more.
Absolutely. And right now, I think as relief guys or as backline starters, I think those guys would be great. I think Thompson, give him spring training. Let's see what he does in more simulated games and stuff like that. Steele, I think, just needs a couple more kind of time, more moments at the mound to kind of get situational baseball down. Like, I think he struggles a lot when guys are on second and on first, especially. I think when he's got two guys behind him, he kind of gets behind the gun. He gets heated a little bit, and I think he gets in his own head. But those are two guys. And Smiley's another one who I think has great stuff. I think he just has to get better control. And again, he's a guy that just needs a little bit more kind of vettering it up, more time on the mound. And I think you got three well-defined young pitchers for your back starters or your like next up, your sixth guy.
Go out and get yourself an ace.
Yes, and
go out.
Because now they lost David Robinson, now you have to find somebody for that closer spot.
Hey, Kimbrel. No, I'm joking. You never know who could develop into that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, tells me that, I don't think the Cubs are as far away as the fans think they are.
No, with the development we've seen from these younger guys, Morel and all these dudes.
Nico, that right there.
Nico, Morel. I mean, you talk about Rivas, Suzuki's another one.
Way, congratulations to the upper management for coming out and saying this is Jason Hayward's last season. Thank you. Thank you.
Finally, he's gone. He's gone. How long have we been? I have sat here in this seat, be it with you or with Drew or with Tom, a lot with Tom, saying, why is this man still on the team?
I'll say this much, though. I would not be surprised to see him back in a Cubs uniform next year as a coach.
Interesting.
I think he realizes his time is done in Major League Baseball.
He certainly still has morality for the ball club.
And I will tell you this much. I would not mind seeing him, and you'll laugh at me when I say this, as their hitting coach.
Yeah, and you know what? It could. The problem I always see with that is that it's hard for those guys. It feels like baseball's one who's like, no, you have to go through like the system. But I think I actually kind of agree with that. I'm not laughing at you for that. I think that's actually a smart move. A guy who was just on the baseball diamond, make him the guy that works with them, because who's been seeing their swings?
Or
who's been watching these guys? Yeah, make him an assistant hitting coach. Yeah, make him the assistant hitting coach. And then if the other guy sucks, then fire him and then bring in Hayward. Because who's been watching these guys swing and take batting practice? He's been there the whole time. He knows how these guys work.
And
he's been a clutch guy.
Whether he's a great player or not, at this point, I'll guarantee you those young players respect the hell out of him.
Absolutely. He's got a World Series. He's got a couple of World Series rings.
And you can say the money wasn't worth it for him. That's BS. They don't win that World Series without Jason Hayward.
No.
Because that speech,
yeah.
He doesn't make that speech, I don't think they win that game.
No, he clearly called, that was the rallying call for like, yo, we have to get all in and do this. And they did. They galvanized, they came together, and they marched the troops right down the baseball diamond, right to a championship. So
I would say they're 2 to 3 years away from being legit.
Okay.
Unless they make the moves.
Okay.
If they make the moves and go out and get themselves a superstar in the offseason, which it sounds, everything that I've heard, Trey Thompson's coming to the Cubs.
We'll see. That's
let him slide his way all around those bases. I'd be okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's not even a superstar in my eyes.
Right.
That's a star.
Right.
And he may be that leader that you're looking for on the field. I'm cool with that.
Right.
And go out and get yourself an ace. I don't care how you do it. If you want to have off-season discussions with the Anaheim Angels, Shohei Ohtani needs to be in a Cub uniform. Should have been in a Cub uniform from day one.
Yeah.
He and Suzuki together, Suzuki's going to get better because now Shohei's there and he doesn't feel like an outsider.
I like him in a White Sox uniform, but that's just me. But
I don't see Shohei liking being a White Sox.
No, he may not enjoy that. But
well, first off, if Tony's still there next year,
right? No,
you can't hit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. You have nasty stuff, don't you?
Right.
I heard you have nasty stuff. So
He goes, oh, crap, another old baseball manager. Damn it.
I must have slept through your at-bats. I apologize, Shohei.
Jesus. No, honestly, I agree with you, though. I think the Cubs, they need to, first off, whatever the owner, Tom Ricketts has to supersede his father and say, Dad, we got to open up and we have to spend this money. Because at this point, you are keeping money on the books that you know you have the ability to use on players, and you have decidedly said, no, we're not going to spend too much. We're going to wait for a certain. But when is the right moment? This year, this offseason needs to be the right moment when you spend, because
you're right there.
Yeah, you have the young players developing. I won't say 2 to 3 years. I would say more on the 3, possibly to 5 years. I'll give them that stretch. Just because
I believe they're closer. My baseball eyeball.
Yeah.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, is not bad. It's not as good as some, but it's not bad either. Did you see what King B-Mac wrote in the chat?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I did see that pop
up. We'll give you a shout out here in a little bit, Kimby.
Absolutely.
I legit think that they're closer than what most people think.
Yeah.
Especially if you have Nico take that next step, Wisdom take that next step, which everybody thought Wisdom was going to have a drop off. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Patrick Wisdom is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's your bona fide 250 with 20 to 25 home runs a year.
Here's the thing with Wisdom. I don't know if he'll be long term before if you're saying, let's say it is in the 2 to 3 year kind of window, he's perfectly interjected in that. I mean, he takes good care of his body, so it could go even longer. If you're saying he's just the DH guy that can do it, I think he's got a great ability to be that kind of player. So, but who knows? I mean, he's also done a really good job being on the bases too, and I think he's another voice, a veteran that can kind of step up,
which is hilarious
and
because
be there.
He's in his second year in the major leagues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's a veteran.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's only been in with the club 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I only say 3 to 5 years because obviously we got to still see guys like Armstrong. We don't know if they'll be sticking around. They've got 4 guys in the top 100 that will be there in spring training, I assume, by next year. But you never know. They could get traded, and if they go for a guy like Ohtani, they may have to sacrifice 3 or all 4 of those guys.
I'm not going to lie. If I'd have been the dude that won the 1.2 bill,
yeah,
my first call would have been to the Ricketts. I'm not.
Problem is that ball club's probably like $5 billion.
See, but if you have the initial investment money to it,
you can buy a share.
Screw a share. I'll buy them out with a loan from a bank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it typically happens. Oh, we got the nice chunk of change, but the bank also owns part of it as well.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he only got like 400 some million of it because he took like the immediate lump sum, I think, or whatever it was. Like with taxes, and obviously they take the money out. Yeah. So it's not really $1 billion, but it's still $400 million, which is nice. But
500 and
see, I was something. It was something like that.
I mean,
I could live off of that.
I could get up in the morning for that.
Yeah, I could live off of 1/10 of that, and then save the rest of it.
Off of 1% of that.
Yeah, very true.
1% of that.
All I ask is a house on the beach, and that's it. That's all I want.
No, I don't want a house on a lake.
Or well, I like the beach.
Yeah, look at your skin compared to mine.
Wow, that's a little bit. You know what? That's touching. That's touching lines. That's
racist.
Touching lines.
No, that's not racist at all. I'm ginger. You're Latina X.
Latinx, yes.
Latinx.
Yes.
You do not burn. I'm not being racist at all. These are true statements.
That's very true.
You hug the Latinx instead of the Polish when it comes to your skin tone.
It's very true. I do.
So kiss my ass, Andrew.
All right. And by the way, our boy B-Mac says, in local news, man that robbed business of $184 million is set to begin his new job with the company. He says, that just sounds wrong, LOL, but he probably would be a solid hire.
He'd be an amazing because the first 10 years of his career,
oh boy,
that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
Solid 20 to 25 home runs, but averaging close to 300 every season.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anybody, like I said, if you want when it comes to baseball, it seems like some of the best people that you want to hire are always the guys within the game because they have the closest kind of eye to knowing what your swing looks like, what your pitch looks like. And that's why, especially for catchers make some of the best managers. That's why David Ross and Aaron Boone and all of these guys, Mike Scioscia, you go down the list of all the catchers, they make the best managers.
AJ Przinsky needs to be the next White Sox coach.
That's why I brought this up in the first place. AJ for new manager, folks. Let's make it happen. Hashtag AJ for White Sox. Let's go. New manager. Come on, Bo. All right.
Hey, we made hashtag fire Meyer.
We gotta go. We had it happen. Had it happen,
and
folks.
it didn't even take a full season.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. We were going to get into some baseball stuff, but there's some stuff we still have to work out on that. There's some things in the works, but we may talk about that tomorrow. But anyways, I'm still here with my man, David Dykstra, as always. David, thank you so much for joining me, man, for some football and some baseball talk. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, man. I'm so glad.
I mean, I'm not
3 straight days of this, man.
I'm not quite as good looking as Gwilla.
I'd say you're a very attractive man,
but you know,
I've
got more charisma.
Yeah, I don't come with the.
I've got more chutzpah.
I don't come with the puns like I do with him and the good-looking man, and he's a beautiful individual. So
I got a better rack.
We may have to judge. Folks, what do you think? Who has the best rack? Comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you
There's
think.
a reason they call me Double D.
All right. Where can they find you, listen to you, all that good stuff, amigo?
You can find me on Instagram at ddykstra7795. You can find me on Twitter at daviddykstra4. You can find me Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Daily Tip on the BetQL Network, hosted by Chelsea Messenger and Michael Jenkins. Great wagertainment show. We have a lot of fun on there. I like pushing buttons and getting people riled up, so that's always fun.
Yes, you do.
You can find me every Monday, 2 to 4 on sportstownchicago.com with my boy Andrew and the little man with the big voice.
Absolutely.
And something else big, but we're not going to go into that. Tyler Buterbaugh. Blow the Whistle. You can also check us out if you missed that show on Monday on any social any platform, really. Google Play, I Play, you play, we play.
Look, there's only one that we're really concentrating on right now, more than anything.
We never forget about Quad Pod because Quad Pod never forgets about us.
That's the only one that counts right now.
I am getting a hold of you, I swear to God.
That sounds like Liam Neeson coming for you.
I have a set of skills.
I don't know where you are, but I will find you, and I will contact you for a sponsorship deal.
That being said, what else? Oh, I have sometime tomorrow, we'll be going, I want to say it'll probably be around noon or 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Me and Darius, the specialist Jefferson.
There you go.
Blah, blah, blah. We'll be doing our wrestling podcast, The Lockup. Tune in, man. There's a lot going on in professional wrestling right now that we need to touch on. And other than that, it's been a pleasure being on. I now know how you feel working on our show.
When you don't have to do all this stuff.
You mean all I have to do is talk?
Yeah, it's fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Trust me, folks. Also, a real quick shout out to our boy TJ in the back. TJ, as always, you do an awesome job, man. So thank you so much. Follow him. Good
job, Squirrely Hagrid.
He's at the NAC 300. Make sure to give him some follow.
You need to change that to Squirrely Hagrid.
that is what we call it. You guys have seen his face, By the way, make sure
you've seen his face.
You know that beautiful beard of his. By the way, hashtag David Beard, hashtag TJ Beard for who you think has the best beard. We want to hear from you guys, of course, for who's got the best beard here in X-Bomb and Blow the Whistle. So make sure to follow him there. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can find us, of course, on all the great stuff. You guys can find me. I'm at The Fluffy Guru on Twitter, and on Instagram, I'm at Boom Crew Captain as well, so make sure to go follow me there. You guys can find us, of course, on Facebook, facebook.com/Team XBomb Sports, where we do our live show, as well as YouTube. That's XBomb Sports on YouTube. You can just find the big ball of bomb with the X, and you guys can
find the big ball with the X.
You know, the big bomb, you know what you guys are looking for with the red background. Follow us there, 5:30, 6:30 p.m. We're going live. Also, follow us on our social media at XBomb Sports on Twitter and on Instagram. We're doing great things. Shout out to our boy Jake Bradley, by the way, killing it with the Instagram posts, doing a great job on that. And any questions or comments, like you guys love to give me all those videos about Trace McSorley, please keep them up at xbsportsofficial at gmail.com.
Keep doing them.
He keeps throwing touchdowns. I'll keep taking them. So, also, real quick with the podcast, yes, as David said, blow the whistle on the radio side, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday. Blow the whistle on the TV side. Sorry, brain got stuck there. 2:30 to 3:30 on Tuesdays. As we usually do on the Facebook and on the YouTube. Make sure to also check out our boy Brandon Januska at 94.3 WMKR. If you're doing your thing down south in Taylorville, you can check him out there on the radio. You can also listen to his podcast, Baseball Banter with Brandon, on Anchor and Spotify if you guys are looking for anything on your baseball needs.
Who has yet to ask us to come on.
Yes, we're still, although he's been very busy, so he still has not.
And we're not.
I know, right? But we're all busy. Yes, Monday Motivation with Hannah B is also on Spotify.
Big time!
She's going to be doing, hopefully, her new podcast. She said very soon. We just spoke with her yesterday. So hopefully she said she's going to be back on it. Yes. She's also doing her thing at 102.3 XLC, the afternoon drive. She's doing a great job there, giving you all the hottest hits you need. And, of course, you can find her at 96.7 The Star, which is doing her morning show with the great Eddie Volkman, ladies and gentlemen. Doing a great morning show with him, ladies and gentlemen. She's, again, doing awesome stuff. Make sure to give him some likes and love. Say what's up from the Boom Crew. Also, too, check out our boys at the Parlay. That's right. Tony Lopez and former Chicago Bull and professional boxer Kendall Gill doing their things at the Yes, Tony Lopez. Tilo! For those who don't know, who went here. They do a great podcast at theparlay.com about all your boxing, combat sports, everything you're looking for. Fight Jake Paul already. Come on, let's go. Come on, Jake Paul. Let's do this. We want to see you take on Kendall Gill. And you're just too scared to fight a boxer. Come on, man. Just admit it.
We will sick Tyler on you.
We will.
Your kneecaps will be gone.
You just didn't sell enough.
Dan Campbell you.
You just didn't sell enough pay-per-views and tickets. That's all it is, isn't it? You just didn't sell enough because nobody was interested, huh? Well, I'll tell you what, they would have been interested for Kendall Gill, but you passed on that, so that's on you. And also, finally, make sure to check out our boys, the Fake Football Guys. We will be going live tomorrow at 2 o'clock. The boys will be doing their positional breakdown. Real quick tip, we got quarterbacks. That's right, we're going to be doing quarterbacks for your fantasy football needs. You can check them out at the Fake Football Guys tomorrow on YouTube. We'll be going live again, 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That's going to do it for the show here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching, and we're so much for listening. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.